in a game that was, one of the more bizarre non-conference games that Oklahoma has played, in quite some time. Really, just when you look at the way Oklahoma came out and played the first half, very very lethargic, very uninterested. It seemed in the game, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. The offensive line was very, very bad in the first half. They were a little bit better in the second half, but not nearly good as they need to be for Oklahoma to get where they want to get this season. When you come into a game and you're scoreless until about a little bit over a minute and a half, minute and 45 seconds left, um, and you find yourself behind 3-0 in the game. Just like I said, no energy from the crowd. Of course, they didn't really have a whole lot to be excited about with the lack of offensive production in the first half, and so this is a very familiar territory, a familiar discussion that we're going to have tonight. Really, honestly, guys, in terms of Oklahoma's very slow start in terms of production on the offensive line, um, just wasn't good across the board. I don't think, I mean, game one you could kind of pinpoint the lack of production to, maybe Tyler Guyton is inexperienced and not having Wanye there, to kind of help out from a tackle perspective, but it was across the board bad. Um, Tyler Guyton was bad again tonight, and his inexperience, gives you a little bit of, he gets a little bit of reprieve just because it's only his second game and just a young kid. But Anton Harrison again looked like he didn't care half the time, wasn't aggressive, just, getting beat constantly. Matauer the same way. Just really bad all across the board in the first half. As bad as the offensive line for Oklahoma has played, just generically speaking, in quite some time. Even, not quite as, maybe even worse than what we saw early in the season last year against Tulane, against West Virginia, just in some of the early season games last year, but really more of the same. I think to a certain degree, you had Kennedy Brooks that masked a little bit of that from time to time. Now they were much better in the second half, but still only running for 134 yards, 3.7 yards per carry. Won't get it done. I was a little bit more optimistic last week, just on the way that Oklahoma ran the ball against UTEP. I think UTEP was even a little bit better up front than what Kent State was. So something that's starting to become a trend. I'm not gonna. It's something that they obviously need to get better at. I'm not ready to say that it's a lost cause and this Oklahoma offensive line is just going to be bad. But it is something that they're going to have to continue to get better in, better at. Like I said, a little bit better in the second half, particularly on the pass blocking side.